Do you see any of the real Diana in Meghan? Did
God,
you?
no.
Really?
No. Sorry. We are uncensored, but oh my God, the idea there's any comparison between Diana, who was the biggest star in the world.
There was a sex tape about her.
And I saw it.
It is the cringiest, most uncomfortable piece of tape I've seen in a long time.
These two will sell anything about their privacy, and yet they'll fight privacy battle after privacy battle. It's total
I don't
hypocrisy.
agree.
Are there any fans of Meghan Markle in tonight? No. Oh, hang on. There is one lone hand has raised
Subversive.
up here. Actually, that is one more than I expected, I have to be honest.
She is an absolute user of the media. She uses every conceivable way to try and play the victim and score points.
Makes them newsworthy. So you either then ignore what people are talking about and debating and having all the silly stuff about the fake part. When all the racism claims turned out to be bull. The mental health claims were bull. All of it was bullshit, designed to damage and attack the royal family, the monarchy, and all of it. And it made me huge.
Been less than kind, unimaginative, and frustrating, said Hollywood's Bible Variety magazine. So sickening, I almost brought up my breakfast, said the woke Bible, The Guardian. Or the intimacy of Instagram, sneered the normally timid New York Times. A nauseating self-serving snooze fest, said another pundit. Well, that was me.
Because if this were... It started quietly. Almost deceptively calm. No warning. No dramatic teaser. Just a moment that, according to insiders, Meghan Markle's team hoped would never resurface again. Piers Morgan just crossed a line that Meghan Markle's team never wanted crossed. Sources say carefully built narratives may finally face the scrutiny they were meant to escape. And insiders say panic set in immediately. This isn't just talk. This is damage control mode. That word panic keeps coming up. Because this wasn't just commentary. It wasn't idle chatter. It was a reopening of something long buried. Something that, for years, had been aggressively pushed out of sight. And the moment Morgan leaned into it, people say the alarms went off behind the scenes. What followed wasn't subtle. But here's the part that changed everything. Morgan didn't casually reference them, he leaned in, he lingered, and by doing that, he reopened a chapter Meghan thought was permanently closed. Observers say he didn't just comment. He mocked the whole thing on live TV. He questioned why evidence keeps disappearing, why the same photos get wiped every time they resurface online. He called out the pattern slowly, clearly, so no one could miss it. And with millions watching his YouTube show, sources claim Meghan's legal team went into overdrive, racing to shut this down before it blows up into full-scale headlines? That's what made this different. Not the accusation, the pattern, the lingering, the refusal to move on. Morgan wasn't shouting, he wasn't ranting. He was doing something far more dangerous.
Complain and never explain was the late Queen's motto for royal PR. For Harry and Meghan, it's more a case of never reign and never abstain, especially when it comes to nauseating self-publicity, which invariably backfires.
Calmly asking questions that stick. So what exactly did Piers say about those deleted photos that has social media buzzing right now? And why does this story refuse to die? No matter how hard it's pushed back under the rug. The bad blood between Piers Morgan and Meghan Markle isn't new, but lately it's turned explosive. Because this didn't come out of nowhere, there's history here, and it's personal. Morgan runs Piers Morgan Uncensored only on YouTube, reaching millions every week with no network bosses, telling him what he can or can't say. No filters, no limits. Since making that move, he's had total freedom to go where TV wouldn't dare. And sources say Meghan has become one of his favorite targets. That detail matters because this wasn't always war. Before the fallout, before the silence.
Importantly, how her curated public image should be. Harry really apparently just wants time alone, doesn't want to be filmed, doesn't want to be put on social media, but has no choice. That very much bewildering picture of them both lamely holding hands looking out at the pumpkin farm really means nothing. It doesn't really go anywhere, does it? And so for Harry himself, he's now, in many people are suggesting,
there were drinks, messages, familiarity, contact cut off the moment someone more powerful entered her life. That moment, people say it never left him. Since then, Morgan hasn't let go. He questions. He circles. He returns again and again, as if waiting for something to crack. What makes this moment hit harder is the timing. Just days ago, Kim Kardashian quietly deleted Instagram photos showing Meghan and Harry at Kris Jenner's birthday party. The images went up. People noticed, then they vanished. gone, just like that. And suddenly, people weren't just talking about the past anymore. They were watching it happen in real time. Kim Kardashian deleted her photo with Meghan Markle. Kim K still has the X tape out online, but Meghan Markle was the line. That's what triggered it. Not speculation, not rumor or visible deletion. Caught, confirmed. Multiple outlets caught it happening in real time.
Markle has gone back to live in California, and she's living the life she probably wanted all along.
Yes.
A life of unparalleled luxury and riches that she got by marrying her handsome British.
And now people are asking the same question again. Why do photos of Meghan at high-profile celebrity events keep appearing and then suddenly disappearing from social media? And once that question was asked, everything old came rushing back. The forums, the whispers, the claims people...
Which is incredibly sad. And now she's wrestled Harry away from his family. So how happy they really are in this mansion in...
swore they remembered seeing with their own eyes. Viewers of Morgan's show say he didn't treat the deletion as a one-off. He allegedly linked it to a bigger pattern, claiming certain photos of Meghan keep getting erased on purpose. And this is where it splits, because here's the part many forget. Fact checkers looked, investigations ran, reports came back empty, no verified originals, no confirmed images. Just story. And yet people insist. They swear they saw something. That's the contradiction that won't die. Morgan didn't say the photos exist. He didn't say they don't. He asked why the reaction is always so aggressive. He zeroed in on one question. Why does visual proof of Meghan's pre-royal life keep disappearing? And when that question is asked on a platform with millions watching, it doesn't fade. It spreads. Then the jokes came. Then the story jumped into pop culture. Colin Jost joked about Meghan during Saturday Night Live, pulling these claims into mainstream comedy. That's when you know something has escaped containment. Because once late night comedy touches it, it's no longer fringe. It's public, and Morgan understands that better than most. Morgan reportedly didn't say the material definitely exists. Instead, he asked why even the idea of it triggers such aggressive pushback. Why the instant defense? Why the panic? That framing matters, because it allows him to keep pressing without crossing legal lines. Observers say it's classic Morgan. Push the question. Let others draw conclusions. And the more denials come, the louder the curiosity grows. What fuels these stories for some people isn't hard proof. It's the pattern. Appear, notice, delete. Over and over. The Kim Kardashian moment is the latest example. Photos of Meghan and Harry at a celebrity party were posted on Instagram, spread fast, then suddenly deleted with no public explanation. That part is real. The reason, unknown. But for people already suspicious, it fits too neatly. Whether Kim Kardashian deleted the photos at Meghan's request for her own reasons or for something else entirely is unknown. And that uncertainty is the spark, because unanswered questions don't disappear. They multiply. So what is it really? A coordinated cleanup or just normal social media behavior? And here's the uncomfortable truth. Both explanations can exist at the same time. Celebrities curate, they delete, they control narratives. That's normal. But once trust erodes, even normal behavior looks suspicious. When someone's past needs heavy management, people naturally ask why that level of control is necessary. And that's where Morgan keeps aiming. Not at proof. At perception. He pointed to how it looks when a public figure's team tightly controls every image the world sees. That's the real story here. Not yacht photos, not parties. Control, and once the conversation shifts there, it's almost impossible to shut down. Once those questions are asked out loud, they're hard to ignore. That's why this moment matters, because Morgan didn't just revisit an old rumor. He dragged image control itself into the spotlight. And whether people believe the claims or reject them entirely, the discussion has changed. It's no longer about whether something existed. It's about why the idea of it causes such a reaction. And that's why this story refuses to disappear. And that's why this turns from gossip into something heavier. Because once people start questioning why a narrative needs so much protection, they stop listening to denials and start watching behavior. Every move gets dissected. Every silence gets louder than any statement ever could. People who followed Meghan's story for years say this is why the deleted photo issue never truly goes away. It's not about one image. It's about repetition, appear, disappear, deny, move on until it happens again and again and again. At some point, even people who don't believe the rumors start asking why the cleanup always feels so urgent. That urgency is what Morgan keeps circling back to. Not screaming, not accusing, just calmly laying the moments side by side. A photo here, a deletion there, a denial, then silence, and for viewers, especially those already skeptical after years of conflicting narratives, it feels less like coincidence and more like choreography. What complicates everything is that fact-checkers have repeatedly said there's no verified proof, no original files, no confirmed images. That should end the story. In a rational world, it would. But public trust doesn't work that way. Once people believe something is being hidden, the absence of evidence doesn't close the case, it fuels it. People convince themselves that the lack of proof is the proof. And Morgan understands that psychology better than most. He knows that asking why does this trigger panic lands harder than saying this exists. One invites debate, the other invites lawsuits. He stays just inside that line, pushing without stepping over it, force Meghan's team into a familiar position, deny, deflect, remove, move on. But here's the problem with that strategy. Every quiet removal looks like confirmation to critics. Every refusal to engage looks like fear. And every time someone else deletes a photo involving Meghan, even if it's for completely unrelated reasons, it gets added to the pile. Context disappears, pattern remains. That's why the Kim Kardashian moment mattered so much, because it wasn't ancient history. It wasn't pre-royal life, it was now, caught in real time, seen by thousands. And then gone. No explanation, no comment, just gone. And once that happened, people immediately started connecting dots that may not even belong together. But once dots exist in the public imagination, people will draw lines whether they make sense or not. Supporters argue, this is exactly why Morgan is irresponsible. They say he knows there's no proof. They say he's exploiting rumors for clicks, feeding an audience that already dislikes Meghan, turning speculation into spectacle. And they're not wrong about one thing: content about Meghan performs. It always has. Every time her name is in a headline, engagement spikes. Morgan's YouTube numbers prove that. Controversy keeps the algorithm happy. Critics say that's the real motive, not truth, not accountability, attention. But even that doesn't fully explain the persistence, because if this were just about clicks, the story would have burned out by now. The internet moves fast. Outrage gets replaced daily, yet this one lingers. It resurfaces every few months under a new angle, new deletion, new joke, new comment, same questions, and that's because there's something deeper at play: credibility. Once an audience decides they don't trust someone, everything that person does gets filtered through suspicion. Even normal behavior looks calculated. Even silence looks strategic. Meghan's past controversies, the family rift, staff allegations, public contradictions, all feed into that lens. Fair or not, it's the reality she's dealing with. Morgan taps into that distrust effortlessly. He doesn't have to convince people. He just has to remind them why they already doubt. A raised eyebrow, a rhetorical question, a slow pause, and suddenly the comment sections explode. And for Meghan's team, that's the nightmare scenario. Because you can't fact-check distrust. You can't debunk feelings. You can release statements, but statements don't erase memory. They don't erase the sense that something doesn't add up, even if logically it does. That's why lawsuits are avoided. Legal action opens doors you don't control. Discovery, messages, emails, context ripped out of private conversations and dragged into public view. Even if you win, you lose privacy. And sometimes losing quietly feels safer than winning loudly. Morgan knows that too. That's why he keeps pushing. He knows there's no easy way to shut him down without amplifying the conversation. Ignore him, and he keeps talking. Respond, and he gets validation. Sue, and the spotlight gets hotter. So the questions stay out there, hanging, unresolved. Are the deletions coordinated? Or are they coincidence amplified by obsession? Is this image control? Or is it just standard celebrity PR being misinterpreted by a hostile audience? Are people remembering things that never existed? Or did something slip through the cracks before being wiped clean? No one can prove it either way anymore, and that's the most dangerous place a story can live. The space between proof and belief? What's undeniable is this. Once Morgan dragged the conversation out of fringe forum and onto a mainstream platform with millions watching, it stopped being controllable. It stopped being niche. It became part of the larger cultural argument about power, narrative, and who gets to decide what the public sees. And whether people walk away believing Morgan crossed a line or believing Meghan has something to hide, one thing is clear: this isn't fading. Not quietly, not neatly. The more it's denied, the more it mutates, the more it's cleaned up, the messier it gets. And as long as photos keep appearing and disappearing for any reason at all, the questions will keep coming back, louder, sharper.